What we love doing most here on Brewed is taking you on day trips that you then will go on yourself. And this assignment is going to be one I promise you're going to enjoy. We're in Northern Illinois. We're visiting 3 places in Northern Illinois that are just fantastic and totally doable. You can get there in almost no time. We are day tripping in Northern Illinois on this episode of Brewed. We're at Pecatonica. This is a tap room in Warren, Illinois. And when I say it's a tap room, that is the understatement of the year. This place, Tim, there are levels upon levels. This is the most impressive tap room we've ever had on the show in terms of what you've got going on here. You walk into the place and you feel like it's a place you grew up in. Like instantly, you walk in, and I will say this, we're in Warren, Illinois. This is the most Wisconsin bar in the state of Illinois. Am I right or wrong about that?
Dave, you're 100% right.
Now, Warren, Illinois is not, we're not in southern Illinois. Like we could throw a rock and hit Wisconsin from
Pretty much. It's
right.
about a half a mile is all from the Wisconsin border.
Okay.
And at one time, Warren was supposed to be part of Wisconsin, and it became part of Illinois.
So where we're at now was going to be Wisconsin, and then there was some lumber baron in East Dubuque that got involved.
The story is there was some lumber baron in East Dubuque that got involved, and we really got to a point where overnight, Warren became part of Illinois and originally was part of the Wisconsin territories.
How big of a town is Warren, Illinois?
It's about 1,500 people.
Okay. When you go into the tap room downstairs, the feeling is that it is very Wisconsin. I mean, almost like very northern Wisconsin specifically. I mean, southern Wisconsin, as you mentioned, is like a half a mile away. Mm-hmm. But the feeling is you feel like you're way up north, and that's not an accident.
Yeah, and I really think that like Joe Davis County in a lot of ways in Illinois is like northern Wisconsin.
Sure.
People of this area, they like to hunt, they like to fish, they like to drink some beer.
We weren't in the tap room 30 seconds, and Tim said, "Can I get you a beer?" That's when you know you're in the right place.
Yeah, we like to serve beer to friendly people, and we certainly like to share our beer with our neighbors. And that's one thing I can say about Warren. The town has very much supported us over the years with how large the facility is in a town that's kind of an out-of-way place. It's been very full. After COVID, we've really, our sales are greater now today than they ever were. So I think people are looking to get out. They have a little bit of cabin fever, and they just want to go out and have a good time. Because we have a very large space and we have very high ceilings, right, and it's a very open area where people can enjoy a beer.
Now we should mention we're in the tap room that's in Warren, but there's a brewery facility that's up the river, right? Up
the road a little ways.
Yeah.
So there's another facility where we brew some of our beers. We brew about 6 beers here in Warren, Illinois.
Okay.
And we also brew about 4 beers in Potosi, Wisconsin.
So the Pecatonica that we see at our store shelves in the Quad Cities?
That would be from Potosi, Wisconsin.
That's the Potosi, Wisconsin.
So this is a very small craft brewery here. If you want that experience from a 3-barrel where we can do some experimentation and really get a really neat beer flavors, in Warren, Illinois, that's where we get it.
Right.
Once a beer, people like it here, and we want to make it bigger and do big things so we can bring it to Iowa, we can bring it to Illinois, Wisconsin, Minnesota, where we distribute. We bring it up to Potosi. We manufacture it up there anywhere from 60 barrels up to 120 barrels.
Is Potosi like the big leagues, and this is where you're like your AAA, where this is a proving ground?
Yeah, it's a proving ground. Not all of our beers taste, to our approval right off the bat.
Right.
I would say about 1 out of 10 beers we just don't like. We don't throw them down the drain. There's, we drink them, but we modify. And like you
said too, for falling in love with a beer and knowing like this is an incredible beer, it would not work for a much larger audience.
Yeah.
Right? And that's great that you're able to do that. That's the whole point of having this place, I imagine.
And I shouldn't say this, but I don't like IPAs. And we have an IPA that does extremely well in the market.
Right.
But I'm the head brewer. I don't really care for IPAs. I like lagers. I like darker beers, Dunkels, and
Is that
and
a challenge
Bachs
making a beer that you yourself don't dig?
No. I made a pumpkin beer, too, because we have a pumpkin fest here in Warren.
Sure.
And there's nothing about pumpkin beer. That's why God invented barley for us.
Right. Right.
So
Pumpkin's an interesting note every once in a while, but
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
You know, the Pilgrims had to make pumpkin beer, but that was out of necessity.
They didn't have a choice.
No, they
You've
did
got
not.
a lot more ingredients to play with here.
Yep.
This really is, you know, when we knew we were coming to the tap room, I thought that's terrific. And I've had your beer, you know, from the store shelves, and that's a great experience to have it at home. But this really is a trip that you need to make, because I don't think we're doing it justice on television. How much work has gone into this place, how much love and attention to detail in all of the rooms. And when they come, they can hang out downstairs. Can they also kind of
Yes,
come around?
absolutely. Yeah, if they ask for a tour, we'll walk people through. We'll show them the place that we have. We have a function room that's big enough to do weddings for like 250 people.
I'm going to throw this out here. Destination weddings, but do it in Warren, Illinois.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding you. It's incredible. So many great beers, and again, it's all German influenced beers that you fell in love with when you were over there. Although I imagine you're probably someone that liked German beer before you went to Germany.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah. This is the most Wisconsin experience I've ever had outside of the state of Wisconsin, and the fact that Wisconsin's just over there. I mean, it's probably not as hard to do this. You couldn't pull this off in like Tampa Bay.
Probably not.
No.
Probably not.
But it's just terrific. The beer is wonderful, and this tap room, I really think tap room is underselling what you got going on here. This is
It is an experience, and we have food here as well.
Right.
We actually cut a hole into our neighbor's restaurant, into their kitchen, so we can just bring food right in.
So you have incredible food, but you don't have to worry about that. You can just worry
It's
about
like
the beer.
a permanent food truck parked next door.
It's outstanding. Tim, I can't thank you enough for your time.
Well, thanks for coming up,
and the
Dave.
beer, and yes, Warren, Illinois you can get here in almost no time, and I'm promising you it is worth the trip. Thanks for having us. Cheers.
Cheers.